Smoke in the air and a haze all across Western Mass has captured a whole lot of people's attention today. Thanks for joining us for Western Mass News at 6, everyone. I'm Chris Pisano.
And I'm Jordyn Jagolinzer. We do have team coverage for you on this smoky Monday. Western Mass News reporter Matt Satilli is getting answers from a local doctor on how best to deal with the haze.
But just how long will this smoke be over our area? Let's start with the expert meteorologist Janna Brown. Janna.
Well, guys, today that smoke is usually pretty high up in the atmosphere. That's how it started. But then as the day warmed up, we saw that smoke kind of make its way down to ground level, which reduced our air quality. An air quality alert is up for all of Western Mass through midnight tonight. So it is an unhealthy atmosphere out there right now. It's expected to ease later on tonight. In fact, we're already seeing signs of it easing. It's not nearly as smoky as it was. Visibilities are improving, even here in the lower valley where it's been at its thickest. The thickest smoke right now is actually out toward Boston, up toward Manchester, 93, 495, seeing a lot of haze out there. For us, it's improving. And as we look at this futurecast, the big plume of smoke moves offshore tonight. Our situation will continue to improve through tomorrow morning as what's left of the smoke really thins out and lifts to the north. But then we've got another plume of smoke that comes in for Tuesday early afternoon. So we could see another air quality alert get issued. It's not a guarantee, but it's something to monitor. Right now, it's breezy. We've got 85 degrees with a dew point right around 60. So it's actually pretty nice outside, minus the haze. Temperatures are in the lower to middle 80s and they'll stay there throughout the evening. Once we get past sunset, we'll have those temperatures dipping back into the 60s. We do have clear skies out there for now. We should keep that into the evening. And tomorrow we'll start off with some sun, but storms return later in the day. More on that in just a few minutes. Back to you.
And Janna, thanks. And our team coverage turns to the haze and the smell of smoke outside right now.
Western Mass News reporter Matt Satilli joins us live in Springfield with more on how this is impacting our air quality. Matt?
Jordan and Chris, I'm here at Riverfront Park, and you can still kind of see the haze and smell the smoke, although it is subsiding. The visibility is decreased a little bit with South End Bridge behind me. A little tough to see. But a lot of people reached out to our newsroom asking, is it safe to be outside today? Well, we took those questions to one local doctor.
And I just thought it was fog. So I didn't know it was wildfires. It has like a little tinge in the air.
Jerry Reed of Agawam is one of the many Western Mass residents who noticed the hazy skies and smoky smell in the area on Monday. Springfield Fire Department Captain Drew Pamonte tells Western Mass News residents reached out with concerns.
We've had an uptick in calls today for smoke in the area and medicals for difficulty breathing.
All of this the result of intense wildfires out west and up north in Canada. Dr. Paul Salva, a local pulmonologist, says our current air quality is putting some people at significant risk.
It worsens whatever inflammation is present tremendously. So people who have asthma, they're experiencing greater difficulty with their asthma. People with emphysema are at tremendous risk.
Salva tells me people with these respiratory ailments tend to trap whatever is in the air into their lungs, including pollen, humidity, and in this case, smoke.
Those that are very fragile may wind up in the emergency room.
Well, he says people who are baseline healthy should not be concerned. The damage could be significant for others with compromised health conditions.
It takes several weeks to completely recover.
He says for now, play it safe and stay inside.
And if you don't have to be outside, don't be outside. Keep your windows closed. This too shall pass.
Salva says the lungs have a tremendous ability to heal, but they need time. And continuous exposure to these conditions mean that your clock will reset each time you step outside. Reporting live in Springfield, Matt Satilli, Western Mass News.
Matt, thanks for that live report and for the latest on our forecast, including a live look at the radar in our area. Be sure that you have our free Western Mass News streaming app. Governor Charlie Baker today appearing to falter on the initial plan to remove all health and safety restrictions for the upcoming school year.
This as the COVID-19 vaccine approval for kids under 12 is still months away. The back-to-school countdown is just weeks away. Western Mass News reporter Audrey Russo tracking cases in young people, and she's live in studio with more. Audrey?
If you're between 12 to 18 years old, you only have one vaccine option. If you're under 12, you have no vaccine options for COVID-19. That means a large number of unvaccinated people are set to learn again in close quarters this fall.
58% of our 12 to 15-year-olds has received at least one dose, compared to 36% nationwide.
The Bay State's population of vaccinated teens is relatively high, as state health officials pointed out at a hearing of the Joint Committee on Public Health Monday. But that doesn't mean kids aren't getting infected with COVID-19. Western Mass News looked at the most recent data for new cases over the last 2 weeks provided by the Massachusetts Department of Public Health. We did the math and found that out of more than 3,000 cases, around 14% are kids aged 0 to 14. When you add in teens 15 to 19, that number goes up to 20%. Officials with the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, who declined to testify Monday, have said they will not require masks in school come fall. Governor Charlie Baker, ahead of a Tuesday call with federal health officials and the White House, says that's up in the air, though he was back to wearing a face mask himself.
I said all along that the one thing people should be very careful about is making absolute statements about anything that has to do with COVID.
Western Mass News also spoke with the chief clinical officer of Mercy Medical Center on the susceptibility of children to the virus.
Regardless of the age of the person, if somebody's unvaccinated, then they are susceptible to getting an infection.
And while children historically have not become seriously ill with COVID-19, Robert Roos says that may not always be the case.
It's very possible that these variants could also change and become something that's more severe for children than the prior variants that we've experienced. I think that's an unknown at this point.
The date for when kids under 12 will be approved for vaccines is up in the air, with some estimates as early as mid-fall and others as late as the end of 2021. Either way, health officials at the hearing today discussed different frameworks for setting up school-based vaccine clinics once that green light is given. Live in studio, Audrey Russo for Western Mass News.
Audrey, thank you for that live report. And the Department of Public Health releasing today's COVID-19 data. The state's positivity rate over the last 7 days sits at 1.65%. Over the past 3 days, there have been more than 1,200 new cases. There have also been 7 new deaths due to the coronavirus. So far, more than 61.5% of Massachusetts residents have been fully vaccinated. For a full look at those numbers, check our free Western Mass News streaming app. For what seemed like the one and only day of sunshine recently, thousands and thousands of people flocked to Six Flags New England over the weekend, causing heavy traffic in Agawam and in the neighboring Connecticut town of Suffield.
Western Mass News reporter Kaylee Pugliese joins us live from the park with more from residents who live nearby. Kaylee?
Well, Chris and Jordan, I spoke with 2 residents earlier today who live not far down the street here. Both of them tell me that they purposely did not leave their house on Saturday because if they did, it could have taken them hours to get home.
There's always been traffic. This year seems to be extremely more aggressive than normal.
Traffic backed up for miles this weekend for those heading to Six Flags. Area residents taking to social media noticing heavy traffic caused by parkgoers at Six Flags, which is backed up in Agawam and just across the state line in the Connecticut town of Suffield. Some even saying those stuck in traffic threw trash onto their lawns. Agawam Mayor Bill Sapelli tells Western Mass News he hasn't seen park traffic like this in decades.
And I'm going to refer to it as the perfect storm. What you had this past Saturday, in my opinion, was you had a month of weather that was absolutely abysmal, as we all know.
He says a day of sunshine likely had people flocking to the park.
And they saw this as the window of opportunity, knowing not only was this a great Saturday and probably the first good Saturday, but they also knew from the weather forecast that Sunday was not going to be a good day. It was going to be pretty nasty.
He says he's been in communication with Agawam police and park leaders about the issue. He says solutions include utilizing more police staffing and using some of the exits in the parking areas as extra entrances.
Because you don't have people exiting at 10 in the morning, they're just coming. So to utilize that to get them off the main roads as well.
Agawam and Suffield police departments working with the park to hire additional officers to help get patrons into the park.
But once you have the cars here in town and the people in the park, and now you're trying to park, you're trying to get people in, at that point it's almost just at the control stage to try to limit the commotion and the traffic jams. You can't eliminate it at that point, it's too late.
The traffic down Main Street isn't anything new to area residents like Chris Lombardi and Jerry Reed, both who say they plan to stay home Saturday to avoid traveling in the traffic.
You're not going to be able to get back. You can go where you want to, but you won't be able to get back.
You never really know what you're going to get. You kind of have to really guide your day out and hope that you kind of find little gray areas when they're not here. And then if not, then, just come home as late as possible.
Western Mass News reached out to Six Flags leaders earlier today who declined an interview, but they did say in a statement on Sunday that they are working on resolving the issue and apologized for any inconvenience. For now, live in Agawam, Kaylee Pugliese, Western Mass News.
Kaylee, thanks for that live report. Several residents are expected at tonight's License Committee meeting in Chicopee as city officials look at bringing a Cumberland Farms service station to Grattan Street near McKinstry Avenue. Some residents in the area tell Western Mass News they're afraid the project would hurt some smaller businesses in the area. The project calls for a 40,000-gallon underground fuel tank. The License Committee meeting is set for tonight at 6:30 inside the city auditorium.